Welcome to this week's episode of Making Sense of It All with Jesse Stakes. This week I have the privilege of speaking to a very successful family-run business that has made a big decision to open their doors to others that have an entrepreneurial spirit and they want to start a business, but they aren't exactly sure where to start or what to do. MosquitoNix is a national leader in pest control and outdoor lighting systems. They offer innovative solutions to protect and enjoy outdoor lifestyles. My guests this week are members of the founding family of MosquitoNix, Jennifer and Mike O'Neill. They're going to talk about the roots of MosquitoNix and the service that they provide. They're also going to talk about the exciting new chapter of being able to offer franchises of MosquitoNix across the United States. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy my conversation with Jennifer and Mike O'Neill. Let's jump right into it. So Jen, tell me a little bit about MosquitoNix. Before we jump into everything, can you give my audience a high-level overview of what you guys do?
Yeah, thank you first off, Jesse, so much for having us. We're big fans of the show. So MosquitoNix is a 20-year-old closely held family company that really is focused on protecting homeowners and businesses' outdoor lifestyles through a insect misting system. We also really focus on making holidays bright as well with our MosquitoNix Elves holiday lighting and decor. But we've really built our business around this wonderful client experience of being outside, whether that's without the biting insects like gnats and mosquitoes and ticks and flies, or it's, enjoying some beautiful holiday lighting and decor.
That's awesome. And I know that, like, if you grew up in the Southeast or if you grew up around the coast or anywhere where there's water, you can appreciate what it means to either have mosquitoes biting you while you're sitting outside in your backyard or be able to have a very clean, comfortable environment to where you can actually enjoy the outdoors and not be running from your life from the next insect bites.
You got it.
So, Mike, if you could, tell me a little bit about the family history of the company. I mean, it's pretty cool that you guys are, you guys were family run, the company was grown by the family. Tell me a little bit about what that has looked like and kind of where you're at now, where you guys are going.
Yeah, so as you said, 20-year history of the company, MosquitoNix. We always joked it feels like there's about 100 O'Neills that work here. But overall, to this point, we have roughly 6 O'Neills in total working at MosquitoNix today. And kind of how it's expanded over time is back in 2003, MosquitoNix, we made a big splash. The concept of what we do at MosquitoNix, and Jen mentioned it too, is we protect these outdoor spaces that people, make memories in through a pretty unique way, through our outdoor insect misting system. So envision somewhat like a sprinkler system, or if you go to the produce aisle, you'll see the little mister spray. So envision that in a like backyard space. And back in Dallas in 2003, this concept is very well known in Texas for horse barns. So for 75 years, they've been using stables. However, we took this concept and said, hey, let's bring this into the residential and commercial spaces like restaurants. And we did that, and it made a large splash. And because it's different, right? So people know pest control. They know, hey, I have my guy that comes sprays the lawn on a frequently basis. But the difference is it's temporary, right? We are using chemicals. There's a lot of old school ways of doing things. And the MosquitoNix way, why it's so different is it's evolved over 20 years, is we use the outdoor insect misting system for permanent control. So it sprays early morning, late at night, automatically by itself. And over the years, we started very closely in DFW. And then as the O'Neill family grew, we've expanded in Jen and I on this call, we moved to Jacksonville back in 2016 to open up from the start. So it's been a fun journey, but definitely a lot of the family affair for sure.
That's really cool. I think that it's pretty awesome when you can take something that's an existing industry and make it better. And that's one of my favorite things is it's when you because it's 2024. There's been thousands and thousands and thousands of years of things happening, and you go from things like citronella, and you go from other things that are pesticides and different things that and there's negative effects to all of it. So I think it's really cool when you can you truly can reinvent the wheel but make it better. Um, I think that my audience likes to hear stories. I think that they like to hear, just different applications and you mentioned restaurants and different residential places. Jen, can you just tell us some of your favorite, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but can you tell me some of your favorite jobs that you guys have done? And you don't have to name names, but stories are great.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, first off, just going back to what you just said, really disruption. I know it sounds kind of interesting, but is something that we've always really loved. And I think that's what's cool about MosquitoNix in general is it allows us to disrupt a kind of archaic industry when you think about pest control, right? So bringing in the tech space, bringing in like low cost to entry, minimal direct labor into what is really looked as a service brand has been super fun. So that's just been one of my favorite projects overall is disrupting a space that typically has a ton of vans, a ton of home visits, a ton of labor, a big office space, a lot of chemicals, right? Like creating safe spaces and safe solutions has been something I've really loved. I mean, I always go back to our first job in Jacksonville. Starting a business is hard. And Mike and I were young and hungry, and we were like, we'll go open up this office, like we have a roadmap. At the time MosquitoNix had been around for 15 years, right? We had opened up multiple different offices. And so we thought like it was going to be a little bit easier. And I remember getting our first client. It was this awesome couple in San Marco. And going out and doing the installation and just, a beautiful outdoor space with a pool and amazing vegetation and just their excitement. The second that they took that remote control and they clicked it and watching all the nozzles spray, just the excitement on their face and the excitement on ours to know like, hey, this is the start of something really great. I will say too, we have some really incredible holiday lighting clients. And some of my most favorite are more on the commercial side. There's a large one that we have serviced out in Texas before, and it's a football group. If you can think about maybe what that would be.
Would they have a star on their logo?
Yeah, just a little one.
Right. And so, stuff like that is super cool. It's like, you would never dream that you get to work in these kind of environments.
Absolutely.
So it's just been so much fun to just see the pure joy that people get from, the work that our excellent team is doing.
And I'll add to what Jen's saying. The holiday lighting piece for us, not only just from a client end facing, but for a business level for our team members. So when it comes to the outdoor insect missing system, control is number one, right? We want to make sure our customers can enjoy their spaces. But aesthetics is a very close number two. So meaning when you walk in your outdoor space, we don't want to be seen. And a lot of times our clients are like, hey, did your team show up today? Because they can't see it. And that's a big part of our job while installing. The beauty of the holiday lights, which, by the way, we brought back, it came around in 2006. We introduced the holiday lighting elves component of our business. It brought a huge satisfaction for our team members. So envision you're working in 1,000-degree heat. You put this misting system in, and the client can't see it. You're not getting that much, round of applause, right. Except on the back end when they have no bugs. The holiday lighting piece is amazing because the team members go up there. They, the big star they put lights everywhere, and it showcases their work. And so, from a morale and I love that side of the operations side because it just really it's another side of our business that really boosts just team members even. So
no, I think that's awesome. And I think what you're saying, I always kind of liken things to the electric company. Everyone expects the electric company just to work. And it's like, you don't really see electricity. You just use your stuff. But if it doesn't work right, or if it turns off, then you're mad, but you're never happy about it. And so I would imagine the same thing on the pest control side of it is that, if you don't feel it, you're just focused on your conversation. You're just enjoying your night out. But the minute that you start getting bit, the minute that you start getting annoyed by insects, now you're mad at your pest control company. So no, I think that that's amazing that you guys have given your employees something that they can feel very positive about, feel excited about, because I don't believe that my audience, like when I first thought about this, when I'm thinking pest control and lighting, I'm like, it's both outdoors, but I don't necessarily think about the two things that how they go together. But when people see your system, when they see, like you said, you have a remote control to control your misting, you have a remote control to control your lighting. It really is very similar as far as the types of applications or the places that you're applying your systems to, and the way that you operate them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing when it comes to the employees, because we have a 7-year average tenure. And when people think service businesses, they tend to think high turnover because of what the environments these
Sure.
team members work in. That's something for us we have a lot of pride in, because generally people think of a service business, you have to have a lot of vehicles and you have high turnover. Well, with MosquitoNix, the best part of our model is you don't need a ton of employees, but the team members you do have, we have great average tenure, which is awesome.
I think that's amazing. Jen, you were going to say something?
Oh yeah, I kind of was just going to echo really what Mike was saying. So
Very good. Very good. So I'd like to dovetail this into the fact that now you guys are taking the MosquitoNix name and the MosquitoNix business, and you guys are starting to roll this out nationwide through a franchising program, yes?
yep, that's correct. Really, what Mike and I saw when we opened up North Florida in 2016, and as we continue to expand, was we had a great 15-year roadmap on how to open up this business. But we quickly learned there was a lot of other efficiencies that at the time we were lacking. We quickly realized you don't need an office space. We can make our systems better by doing the smart technology, which we created and we own. It is something that is very unique to MosquitoNix because we make our own systems, install them, and service them, as well as our solutions. So that got really great. It allowed us to cut our direct labor almost in half, which is incredible.
No doubt.
We were able to take our sales and make them much more efficient by taking everything virtually. So no longer people are having to go knock on doors and do at-home visits and wait weeks, on the client end to get a proposal done. Our team can do a proposal in a matter of minutes virtually and be able to showcase exactly what that's going to look like for the client. And so there's a lot of things that we just really tightened up and created a really wonderful system that's going to continue to improve over the years. But for us, we really felt like it was, we put in all this blood, sweat, and tears over the time, the 20 years that we've had this business. And now we want to be able to guide other entrepreneurs who want to be in business for themselves, but not by themselves, to create a wonderful life for their family and accomplish their goals. And we're so excited to have launched franchising back in January of this year.
No doubt. I think that's absolutely amazing. And I think one of the things for me, at least even in the beginning of this conversation, it's that light bulb moment when you realize that, when I think of a pest control business, I'm thinking I'm walking around with a can, I'm spraying around somebody's house, I'm doing things that, I'm probably going in spaces that I don't necessarily want to go into. But when you're talking about it from a technological standpoint, it's a totally different audience that you're appealing to than just your handyman or the person that's, maybe looking to replace a job. This is an opportunity to truly be an entrepreneur, but with the systems and everything that you guys have already put, like you said, the blood, sweat, and tears in, where you don't have to necessarily, invent your own wheel, if you will. Mike.
And I would say too, on franchising, it used to get a bad light, right? Because you have all these restaurants all through crop, and you think it's a big corporate conglomerate. Well, in all reality, franchising is mostly all small business owners, and they put their own investment in, but it's backed by a proven business model. Is why franchising is such an appeal. Because it used to get a bad rap, but in all reality, majority of the franchise systems out there are small business owners. And for MosquitoNix, why we picked it, and before we decided to go into franchising, we seek a partner, and our partner's name is Franworth, who's the best in how to scale a proven business model in franchising. They have over 500 years experience. And for us, because we don't want to go into it half cooked, and it's been a huge success in with Franworth, because franchising is a total different area. But for us, we like it because we're going to find husband wife teams like Jen and I looking to make their next big step. So
No, I think that's a great point. And I think that, to your point, when you decide to franchise your business, it's a totally different step than running a MosquitoNix business. Like you are now in the business of training people, of selling the value of what you have to offer, of making sure that you're providing them those systems and updates and everything that they need in order to be in business themselves. But you're not necessarily doing the day-to-day of running MosquitoNix anymore. You're in the day-to-day of training, retaining, and selling franchisors or franchisees, I guess I should say.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. And it's something that has, we're just so grateful for having the opportunity to partner, like Mike said, with Franworth, because we know MosquitoNix, we know client experience, we know customer acquisition. We know those things backwards and forwards. We could talk to people about them with our hands tied behind our back and a blindfold on, right? But franchising is something that is totally new to us. And when we decided to take this step, we really made sure that we had a great partner that would be able to support the massive influx and interest that we've had across the country. And Franworth really provides that for us. Instead of us having, a 3 to 5 person org chart out of the gates as a franchisor, which is reality for most franchisors. You usually only have a few people supporting them when they start. We have an org chart of over about 60 people that are supporting our franchisees. And just the other day, we got a note from one of our new franchisees who purchased 4 different territories saying, how amazing their experience has been. Usually, if you're going to invest, that kind of money out of the gates to buy 4 territories, you might be nervous. And he was so confident and so happy with his decision. And he's only a few weeks into our onboarding process. So it just really is a fulfilling mission for Mike and I to have the opportunity to help people, again, create their vision for their life.
No doubt. For us, it turned into coaching, really, because like you said, Jesse, we've done the operational side, but for us, opening a business is tough. And if you open it by yourself, you're by yourself, right? However, when you partner with MosquitoNix, there'll be highs and lows, and you need to have that sounding board of a partner. And as Jen mentioned, you have at least 60 people day one. We just start launching in January of MosquitoNix support, which is a great thing to have when you're taking on a new adventure.
No doubt. So let's talk about what that opportunity looks like for your franchisees. Let's talk about what the market looks like, because I think that's a big, the big question mark. If somebody hasn't looked at it before, is there regional application to your services? Is it something that applies nationwide, worldwide? Like what's the opportunity look like for somebody, that, like, let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say, Florida's an easy place because we're all familiar with it. But we can talk about another area of the country as well. But let's talk about Florida for a second. What does that opportunity look like for somebody who is saying, I might be interested in this?
Yeah, so Florida is a great spot, obviously, because the climate is warmer. We do have quite a few offices that are already in Florida, so a lot of our interest is coming from other areas that people wouldn't necessarily think of as a key market for MosquitoNix. The Northeast is a really hot space where there's a ton of interest. Middle part of the country, is the same thing. And the reason why is I know we have mosquito in our name, but our insect misting systems take care of a variety of other biting, flying, and just downright annoying insects. One of those being flies. So, like Mike was saying, we were developed in the horse barn industry to get rid of flies. So a lot of restaurants will have us from a commercial space, more B2B instead of B2C, to get rid of flies that are coming into a restaurant space or around a dumpster area. Also for ticks. So Lyme disease transmission is very real, and keeping ticks away from people as well as pets is a really important thing. And so we've seen such an influx of interest across the whole United States since we launched in January, really to combat not just the mosquitoes, but again, these other biting insects too.
No, well, not to mention.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, not to mention, you guys have your whole lighting system as well. I don't want that to get lost, because the aesthetic piece of what you guys do is as important as the pest control piece.
And that's how I was going to elaborate with the holiday lighting decor division. You know, ticks is a big draw up Northeast. I mean, the season generally goes from February to November. However, that holiday lighting division is a big component of our business today. And why we brought in 2006 is, we do have, with mosquitoes, a slight seasonality to it. However, that holiday lighting decor elves division, I mean, to give you an example, for Jacksonville's revenue represented 16% of revenue last year, which is a big portion of our revenue.
No doubt.
To answer that part of the business.
And I got to imagine that a lot of that it's from your existing customers. It's not like you're getting somebody who's just buying lighting. If they're a lighting customer, they're probably utilizing your pest control services as well.
Yep, and that's the beauty behind our customer acquisition center. You know, for all of our franchisees, we handle the sales for them, and so they don't have to be out again hitting the pavement. You know, going door to door, trying to hard close, and really being salespeople, because a lot of people think they're a salesperson, and then they get in front of a client, or they get in a tough situation where they're trying to close a deal, and they quickly realize they're not. That was me,
Sure.
right? I love to talk to people. I love to build relationships, but like hard closing and just getting the deal done, I was not good at. And I wanted to be the cheerleader. I wanted to be the fun person, and I would give everything away for free so the business would not be profitable. But, you know, that's one beauty behind the customer acquisition center, is it allows us to go and sell a client, but then cross-sell them easily, you know, so we can easily hit them with, hey, here is, you know, a one-time treatment for your event coming up, and then let's upgrade you to permanent control with our insect misting system, and then let's go ahead and get you on schedule for a holiday lighting and decor. You know, it really allows some cross-sell and efficiencies from that front too.
No doubt. So, Mike, do you see that there's an opportunity here, like as far as when you look at future demand for these services versus what it is in today's world? Do you guys see it increasing, decreasing? What do you see as far as what's the future for pest control and the future for, you know, aesthetic lighting for people's homes and for businesses?
And that's a great question, and that's a common question we'll get a lot of these, you know, future entrepreneurs, because obviously they're exploring the opportunity. You'll see, due to COVID, really, the home services industry expedited, meaning the value of people's time and money. They want to know, where am I going to use those, right? You have very limited of both with people's most day-to-days. And you'll see through COVID, you saw people appreciate in where the time with their family they started discovering, but also the value of their money. And during that window of time, instead of taking a family of 4 on a trip to Disney World that could cost you $10,000, right? You do it once a year. People decide to say, hey, let me invest that money in my home. Right. Let me build a outdoor oasis, a pool, a pergola, whatever it is, and create this here. And what we saw in for future growth is that during that period of time, people really recognize the value of their home. And for MosquitoNix, what do? We protect outdoor spaces from these insects. And so we definitely see, not only on the holiday or outdoor insect piece, but that's the same with the holiday lighting. People say, hey, I'd rather, instead of traveling for whatever Christmas or whatever holiday it is, I'd rather stay home, put up a great display to surprise my kids for lights. And that's also commercial as well. So we see a large growth, obviously in the pest control industry, but we represent the holiday lighting seasonal component too.
No doubt. And I tell you what, for $10,000 to go to Disney World, I will dress up as a mouse and put as many lights on my house as possible to avoid that cost.
Agreed.
Jen, one question I did have, and I think that everybody would be wondering this as well if they're interested in this, is competition. Not just other businesses that are competition, but what do you consider the main competition? Is it people doing it themselves? Is it them hiring somebody else? What is the main competition for MosquitoNix?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm going to answer with something that probably is going to shock people a little bit, but I would say one of our biggest competition items is really education. A lot of people don't even know that an option like this exists. When you say permanent enjoyment without biting insects outside, regardless of where you live in the country, people will laugh. They're like, there is no such thing unless I stay inside, right? And so one of our biggest, hurdles, if you will, is just educating the client that this even exists. There are people who, want to try and do it themselves. But like Mike said, I mean, I think at the end of the day, as a, American culture, we are starting to value our time so much more. And, would you rather have to go and spray some yucky chemical all over your house, every few days in order to, go play on your playground with your kids, or have friends over in the pool and patio without swatting away? It really comes down to, where do you want to spend your time? And homeowners, at least from, what we've seen, they're demanding excellence even more than they have in the past. And they're also demanding innovation and disruption in archaic industries. And so I think we're in such a brilliant spot to continue doing that, continue providing an excellent client experience, and continue to shake up an industry that is pretty stagnant, in our opinion, with some really cool technology and amazing products and features.
I think this is Jen's line. It's, we make pest control sexy. Is that what I hear from you all the time?
It's fun. I mean, like, in all reality, I mean, you don't know me personally as well, Jesse, but when we have our whole MosquitoNix teams, we constantly always start with, raise your hand if you ever thought you'd be working for a company that had mosquito in their name. No one raises their hand, right? It's not like something that you aspire to be when you're a kid. You're not like, I'm going to be a mosquito killer, right? But I think what's cool is, again, the fact that we are coming into an industry that in the past has been very unsafe, right? In the past has been very labor intensive and had this stigma of just like, kind of gross. And we're making it cool, and we're making it fun, and we're making it something to talk about. You said it earlier. Bugs aren't really a talking point unless they're an issue. But what's cool is we're bringing in really neat talking points about how we're keeping the bugs away. So it's fun and exciting to kind of shake things up.
No doubt. I don't think I could say it any better than what you just did. If people are listening to this, Jen, and they like what they hear, they're interested, they want to know more, they want to get some of that education that you were talking about, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you and Mike?
Yeah, so feel free to check out our website. It's just www.mosquitonix, that's Nix.com. That will lead us directly into our customer care line. And, Mike and I are always happy to have conversations directly with people that are interested. So feel free to request us, or you can, just request one of our amazing team members. I will say we are the luckiest in the world because the MosquitoNix team across the country is absolutely incredible. And I will say that's one of the reasons we have a 98% customer retention rate, is because of our incredible team. So we're very grateful and would love the opportunity to talk with anyone that's interested.
Awesome. Mike, Jen, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. I learned a lot. It made me look at pest control and lighting differently than what I had before we started this conversation, which I got to imagine my audience is doing the same. So thank you guys again. I appreciate you putting me under the learning tree for a little while.
Thank you, Jesse.
Appreciate it again.
I got to tell you guys, there were several times during this conversation that I would have what I describe as a light bulb moment. I definitely fall into the category of wanting to do my own thing or investing in great concepts, but I can't always see what those are. Full disclosure, I would have never thought about investing in a pest control or lighting business before having this conversation. But when you look at the technology component, the business-to-business sales potential, the really cool and fun projects that you could potentially be a part of, and simply adding more enjoyment and value to people's outdoor spaces, I would definitely consider investing in MosquitoNix if I were investing in a franchise concept today. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Jennifer and Mike, and it got you as excited about something you never thought you might be a part of as it did me. That's going to do it for us today. I'll catch you guys next time.